Okay, welcome back to episode 3. Today we're going to talk about technocrats, which is an ideology or a philosophy a person can have. It's the belief that technology will save society and innovation will prevent the worst effects of climate change. Basically that, we can use AI to fix everything. So long as it's in line with the creators and owners of that technology's vision for society. And that's where I see the problem, because these people have the control and power and influence of a state and country, but they have no oversight except to their shareholders, which could push them even further than some of them may like, because when you're legally bound to return money to your shareholders, you will start to do some iffy things. And through nudging and reinforcement, this is how they make type this, blah, blah, blah. Through nudging and reinforcing is how technocrats instill the idea into the populace that it's okay to just fall back on what the scientist says or what the tech CEO says. Basically, an example would be like the new movie Project Hail Mary. Climate change, fucking shitty analogy to climate change that wasn't even human caused, but got solved by the technocrats, is an example of media used to make us more complacent. Or Iron Man in the Avengers, he has every single technology available to him, and bro is basically like Palantir. He sent them bombs over, and that's why Quicksilver and his sister were mad at him, because they fucking got bombed by Stark bombs. They weren't terrorists, they were their own freedom fighters. And they're trying to convince us through dozens of plot lines and movies that, yes, Tony Stark was in the right. And the more compliant we get with that, the more that this life-saving technology will encroach on our freedoms and our privacies, making it harder to really discern when you chose what you wanted to do. Because you may think that, launching sulfuric dust into the sky to block out the sun and reduce the temp sounds good, but you know what also has figured out how to cool the Earth's temp over a millennia? Mother Nature. It has literally perfected its own ecosystems, and technocrats are trying to implement things like geoengineering because it creates a new market for their shareholders. If there's someone buying this stuff, there's going to be someone selling it, and that's the real key right there. This geoengineering is basically the quick and easy route, and rewilding, putting trees, grass, and whatever natural plant life was there back, so that Mother Nature can do its own thing over the span of 10 years, is long and hard. More than 10 years. It'll take hundreds of years probably to undo what we've done to Earth if we really want it to be like how a national park should be. And it may sound like I just hate technology, but I'm recording myself on technology right now. I'm posting onto YouTube. I'm not opposed to things that simply digitize our information, like Wikipedia, or our communications like YouTube, so that humans can do what we already do, but faster and easier with more people. But once this technology is used to start nudging us, and corralling us into a certain, thought bubble. That's where I see the problem. If the public library started corralling me into what to check out and what to read, I wouldn't patronize them anymore. I would, figure out something else. I would just go to a bookstore and get my own books. And just because we can't see what's happening on these apps or underneath algorithms does not mean we aren't being corralled into certain belief systems and thought patterns. So, every time someone hails AI as our savior and the next, groundbreaking technology, which it very well could be, but that's for very specific use cases, just like any other tool. You don't use a hammer to build your entire house. It takes a whole toolbox. And so you don't just use AI to unfuck yourself. So when someone is trying to convince you to use AI and you ask, oh, what's the best use case? How should I go about it, to make my life better? And they respond with, well, you should really just, play around with it, familiarize yourself with it. That's a load of shit, and they're throwing it at the wall, trying to figure out which consumers can become dependent on AI so that they can make a profit. If you can use AI, sure, maybe that's not the worst case. But if you're using it, like have the premium subscription just to make your dog talk, I don't think that's like the best use of it. So I guess I'll wrap this up. Yeah, I guess this is one of those things where you can't just be the hermit and completely reject technology, but you also can't be the first mover and early adopters, like signaling that this is the God's gift to Earth. There's a happy medium to using technology and using your own human skills and intuition and thought and creativity. Thank you.